So hi, welcome to the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with,
And I am Jason Evans from Ingested.
and we're asking some questions to say about the upcoming album, The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
I'm buzzing. I'm really happy. We've been sitting on this album for a while because we're always writing and recording stuff. So when we released the last album, Ashes Lie Still, we released that in November 2022. And then literally 4 weeks after that got released, we went into the studio in December and recorded The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams. So like we've been sitting on this for like over a year, like knowing that the album's completely done. Like so we've been listening to it for a year. So we've just been like super excited to finally like announce that it's coming out and that it's done and all that. The response so far has been fantastic. We did the album announcement, and then we released our first single with a music video. That was Paragon of Purity. And the response to that has been fantastic as well. So we're really pleased with that. And then we announced in the same week, we announced our UK and European headline tour with Fallujah, Vulvodynia, and Melancholia. So that's in April and May. So yeah, and the album comes out on April the 4th. So we've still got more singles and music videos to release. So I mean, we're just always busy. Like
Yeah.
it's nice to
Yeah.
just keep working. Like I think that's like a really big part of who Ingested is as a band. Like because we're all just working class guys. Do you know what I mean? We've all come from fuck all, and the way that we've all grown up, like coming from like council estates in the UK, and that is like, if you want something, go out and earn it, work
Mhm.
for it. Like, you know, nothing's given. Like we've never been given anything.
Mhm.
Everything we've had, we've worked our asses off for. Everything, every tour we've ever got, every album we've put out, any label that we've ever been on, we've had to work and scratch and claw and fight to get to that.
Mhm.
So, you know, like we're super appreciative of being able to do what we do. And it's just really exciting because, like I said, we've got so much stuff coming out in the run up to the album and beyond as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good year. It's going to be an exciting year.
Hell yeah. I really, really respect the work ethic that your band has. And like, you know, I'm curious when you guys found time to write the record, because like when we spoke about the last one that came out in 2022, you were on the road in the US, and then you're like 4 weeks later we recorded the fucking record. So
Yeah.
when did you guys even have time to write this?
We just write all the time.
Like on the
Like we're
road?
just always writing on the road whenever we're at home. Like Sean, our guitarist, he's just a writing machine. Like he literally never stops writing. Like he's always writing. He's always sat at home, like with his guitar. Like whenever he's got a spare minute, because obviously he's got his kids and that. Like so, whenever he's got a spare minute, he'll just be like thinking about riffs and thinking about like putting song structures together and stuff. So there's always like just tons of material just
Mhm.
floating around between the three of us. Um, and I'm always writing lyrics as well. Sean's always writing lyrics. Like nowadays, it's like the lyrics are like 50% of an album will be my lyrics and 50% will be Sean's lyrics.
Mhm.
So it's like, and then Lynn's as soon as Sean's got like a vague idea or a vague like structure for a song, he'll immediately record it and send it to Lynn. And then Lynn will like write his drums to it and record that, and then he'll send it back to Sean, and then they'll like go between each other, like, you know, changing things. And if things need to be like different, like, oh, I've got an idea for a drum beat, what you've done with that drum has changed my idea for what I wanted to do with that section of the song. So then he'll re-record what he wants to do, and they'll go back and forth until they've got the song down to where they're happy with it. And then they'll send it to me, or Sean might be feeling it and he'll be like, "Oh, I've got an idea for this." So he'll write lyrics and vocal patterns and then send that to me. And then I might write lyrics, and then we'll just between the three of us. But then again, because of what I might write lyrically,
Mm.
that again might change the song structure again. So then what I do, then Lynn might go, oh well, I might actually change that drum beat, or Sean will be like, oh, I'll change this riff, or I'll add a lead in here, or like, and then we just go round
Mhm.
in circles until we're happy with the song, and it's basically just that
Yeah.
constantly. So it's like we've got we've just got tons and tons and tons and tons of material, like,
Mhm.
and then it's like you'll just listen through to stuff because we all record at home as well when we're doing like scratch tracks, demo tracks, when we're demoing songs and that.
Mhm.
And then we've just got Dropbox folders full of music and material and stuff. And then it's like when you start to piece an album together, it's like that's when we might go, oh, do you remember that song? Let's see how that works. And then we might take that song and it might be perfect as it is for the album, or we might take that song and then change bits of it. And then because what we're still firm believers that like an album should be an all-encompassing like piece of work. Like, so rather than it just be 10 individual songs just all shoved on there just because the bangers. Like we don't do that with albums. We like an album to have an ebb and a flow to it, like a story to it, not necessarily narratively, but like musically.
Mhm.
So it's like it's got peaks and troughs. It like all works in a certain order. So then we'll spend weeks and weeks like deciding on like what song goes where and why it should go there
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So like yeah, we just have loads of material, just loads of material that we're always taking bits from that or using full songs or writing just new songs. So that's why we're able to stay ahead because it's like we like to because we write so much. It's
Mhm.
like we like to stay ahead of the curve, if you know what I mean, like when it
Mhm.
comes to like deadlines and stuff. So it's like we'll release an album and then again, like a couple of weeks later, record the next one.
Yeah.
And then it's all done. And then we can spend a year figuring out what singles we want to do, figuring out the music videos, and then everything's done by
Mhm.
the time. And we're not like rushing and going, oh no, there's a deadline. Like it's just like
Yeah.
get the work done, get it done, make sure it's as sick as it could possibly be.
Mhm.
And then that gives us then time to prepare everything, like, and
Yeah.
then prepare the whole package.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I don't know. I like it again. I think it's just part of who we are as people. Like we're just
So
hard workers.
so the time consuming part is actually planning out the rollout, the music videos, the track listing. That's the long part for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. Because like I said, the music's done. The music's
Yeah.
already done. Like because we're always doing it. So it's
Mhm.
like we're like one or two albums ahead of schedule all the time. So it's like everything else we can then spend that time making sure that everything's prepared and it's as perfect as we can make it because we love this. Like we want everything that we create to be perfect to how we want it to be.
Mhm.
So that like you said, that then gives us the time to make sure it's all spot on, like it's all exactly how we want it.
That's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Genuinely, like that's so fucking badass. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
The cover art's really interesting. So we got David Seidman to do the artwork for it again. He's the guy who did the artwork for Ashes Lie Still.
Mhm.
And what we did was so David Simon, what he's mostly known for, to my understanding, is he creates bespoke like hand painted movie posters, like like 80s or horror movie like posters, like they're done to commission and they're insane. Like, but Sean's super into like horror movie memorabilia and 80s movies, stuff like that. So he collects these commissioned posters. Like if you go to his house, it's just like they're all framed all over the walls.
Yeah.
It's like a bloody horror movies, 80 movies museum, like
Yeah.
walking into his house. He's just got so
So
much
fucking
like
cool.
stuff. It's so cool. And he was showing us some posters that he'd had commissioned and like bought. And we were like, me and Lynn were like, yo, this artwork's amazing. And then we were like, do you reckon he'd ever do like an album cover? So Sean was like, I'll ask him. Like, so Sean talked to him, and yeah, he was down to it. So like, he did the artwork for Ashes Lie Still, which is such an awesome album cover. Like the way that it looks is just such a striking image. But what we like in the past, we always had an idea, a clear concept of what we wanted as artwork. But from Ashes Lie Still onwards, we made the decision that we should take a step back from that. Because if we're commissioning an artist to make a piece of art for us, it really should be their art. It shouldn't be us telling him what to do, because then it's like, why? Like, why are you getting this guy? Like, you know what I mean? So, what we did with Ashes Lie Still and with Tied to Death and Fractured Dreams was we sent him all the lyrics and the music. So we sent him the album, sent him the lyrics, and we were like, you give us your interpretation of what you think this is. Mm-hmm. Like, you just read through the lyrics, listen to the music. You get your idea of what you think this album is, what these songs are about, what these lyrics mean, and then give us your interpretation of it. Like I think the only thing we said was the general color scheme of it. But the actual imagery, that's David Simon, that's come straight out of David Simon's amazing brain. Like, so yeah, that's what we wanted, and then we wanted him to do his thing, and he'd done it, and he's knocked it out of the park. Like, I love the Ashes Lie Still cover. I think that's amazing, but this new one, I love it even more. Yeah, because it's such an odd, like, image. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like it's weird and it's dark, but it's kind of like a beautiful image as well. Like, if you know what I mean, it's like it's I don't know. I think it works perfectly with the title of the album and with the lyrical content and everything. I think it's a insane album cover. But yeah, the title of the album, Tied to Death and Fractured Dreams, Sean actually came up with that. So like, I mean, I can't speak for Sean on what that actually means. But for me, from my understanding, is obviously when we were doing our Metal Blade debut, Ashes Lie Still, we were all going through a lot of shit, like in our personal lives and stuff, and in the band and stuff like that. But then with this album, I think we've come out of that shit like stronger and better, like, than we've ever been. And I think for me, my personal take on what that means is we had that tide of death. Like, that could have been the end of our band. Like, with like the shit that was happening. Like, we were dealing with addiction. Sean lost his father. Like, it was bad. It was shit. Like, we lost band members as well. So that was the tide of death. Yeah. You know what I mean? It fractured our dreams. Our dream was nearly over. But we managed to come out of it like stronger and better. And now we're doing bigger things than we've ever done. We're on a new label. We've got amazing management team and booking agents behind us. And we're better at everything that we do. Our stage show is better. The live experience for our fans is insane. The tours we've been getting on have been absolutely mad. Like, we've toured with Cannibal Corpse, we've toured with Lorna Shore. It's just been fantastic. Like, they're like two of the, like, if you're talking death metal and deathcore, they're like the two biggest tours that you could do. Yeah, exactly. Like, so it's like the years we've had since coming through that have been insane, and it's only going to get better, and it's only going to get stronger. And to me, that's my personal take on what the album title means to me. But the way it came about was, it was a lyric in one of the songs, a lyric that Sean wrote, and when we read it, we were like, "Yo, that's sick. That'd be a sick album title." And then we were like, "Oh, it's a bit long though, isn't it? You don't think people think it's a bit like pretentious or whatever?" And we were like, "Since when have we ever give a shit what other people think?
Exactly.
When have we ever gave a fuck? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, we were just like, fuck it. If we want it, let's do it. Like, this is our band." Like,
Exactly.
So like, yeah, so we just rolled with it, and it was just I think it perfectly encapsulates the album, like the whole package, the music, the lyrics, the album title, and the album artwork. It's just, I think it's all on point. Really
I agree
happy with how it's come out.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure. And just hearing you talk about all of the care and attention that you put into all the little details of the record, and even just like the personal struggles that you guys have gone through while creating this record, all the success you guys are getting now and achieving, it is so deserved. You guys are fucking crushing it. I'm incredibly proud of you guys.
Thank you very much.
Cool as fuck.
That's really, really nice of you to say. That makes me feel good. That thanks.
Of course.
Hell yeah. So what song off this album took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
Ooh, longest to write would have probably been Pantheon. Pantheon would probably have been the longest one to write for me. Just because, like, that song, like, usually I don't really like say what songs are about, just because I like to, like, the way that I write my lyrics is that I like to, they're always about something personal to me, or some thought that I've had, or something that I've experienced, or something that's happened in my life. But I always like to put them in, I always like to frame it in a way that's up for interpretation. So I'll take this real thing that's happened to me, and then I'll cover it with a coat of, like, metaphorical or fantastical paint, if you know what I mean. So, like, what I'm talking about in the song might not necessarily be what I mean it to be, but I've tried to keep it vague because, well, for a start, like, I'm not the type of person that likes to fucking go around talking about me business, like my personal shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's just how I am. Like, I just keep my shit to myself. Like, but like, with this one, it was what it's. Well, I'll go back to why I write in a vague way, actually. So I write in a vague way so that the songs are up for interpretation. So that I think that if I frame it vaguely, if one of our fans or someone's listening to the song or reading the lyrics and they interpret it in a way that, oh, that applies to something that I'm going through right now. Do you know what I mean? And they make a connection with that song, and then that could help them in, like, even if it's in a tiny way. If it helps them get through something that they're dealing with, then to me that's as important as it gets. Do you know what I mean? Because, and I think that also, I think in another way that also creates like a bond, like a connection with that song or that band. Because I know that, like, when I've been going through shit and I've put a song on or found a song or started listening to something or reading the lyrics, and I've gone, oh, fucking hell, that's kind of resonating with what I'm going through right now. And then that's like helped me. Do you know what I mean? And made me feel like, oh, I'm not the only person. Do you know what I mean? I'm not the only person that this shit's happening to or feels this way. And then I've ended up getting like such a strong connection with that band through that song. And I think that's like super important, like really important. But the song Pantheon is about without going too deeply into it, is about me struggling with like imposter syndrome.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, because obviously we started this band when we were kids. We've grown up listening to all of these bands and idolizing all these bands, like Cannibal Corpse and Dying Fetus and Suffocation.
Yeah.
And then it's like 10, 15 years later, you're sharing stages with them and you're sharing backstages with them and dressing rooms and green rooms, and you're sitting there eating your food with them and like, and you're sharing tour buses with them. And it's like, for me, it's like I'm rubbing shoulders with gods.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is like my pantheon. This is my like religion. Do you know what I mean? These are my gods. These are my idols. These are the people that I've revered so much. And then I start thinking like, what the fuck am I doing here? Do you know what I mean? Like, why am I here? Like, do I even deserve to be here? Like, am I even good enough to be on the stage with these guys? Like, and it's just like, it's totally human. Like, it's a totally human thing to think. Like, do you know what I mean? But that's kind of what that song is about. But then I've framed it in a way as if I'm talking about a literal pantheon of gods. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like I try to keep it vague, but like that's what that song's about, and that's why that one was the one that took me the longest to write, because I had to really think about the lyrics and how. I mean, I always really think about the lyrics, but I mean, like, it took me a while to get that one into words, into the way that I wanted it to come across, and so that took the longest. But my favorite one is Kingdom of Sand.
Nice.
Kingdom of Sand, just because the end of that song, like the last like bit of it, like it's like that last section of that song is my favorite bit on the whole album, because it's so hard. Like the riff is so hard, and the vocal pattern, like it's like a repeated sort of like vocal pattern that like keeps coming through, and it's just brutal. Like it's so good, and it like gets me so hyped whenever I hear that bit of that song. It's like I'm sitting, like, as soon as the song starts, I'm like, 2.5 minutes, let's go. I could listen to that bit on repeat like all day, because it's just so hard. So yeah, that's my favorite. But I have another like personal favorite, A Path Once Lost, which is the very last track. Because it is very different. Very different to anything that we've done before. And it's Sean singing on it as well, and his voice is fucking brilliant. And I just love it. I just love it. It's just got like a really dark, morose feel to it, and like the lyrics are grim, man. Like, so it's like it's a really, really good song. I think a lot of people will be surprised by that, but it's, again, we just do whatever we want. Like, do you know what I mean? There's going to be some people who are going to try and gatekeep and go, yeah, you shouldn't have singing in death metal, blah, blah, blah. It's like, listen, ridiculous. We fucking do whatever we want. Like, that's what we do. I didn't get into a metal band to live by people's rules. That was the opposite reason of why I got into a metal band.
Exactly.
Fuck that shit. Like, I'm in a metal band because I watched the Pantera home DVDs when I was a teenager, and I was like, holy shit, this is mental. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, that's why. It wasn't them all walking around in suits, eating grey slop, abiding by everyone's fucking rules, wearing a tie. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was they were raising fucking hell. Like, I wanted to be in a metal band because I want to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what.
Exactly.
You know
there
what
you
I mean?
go. There you go.
Yeah. So fuck anyone who fucking tries to gatekeep my fucking band. If anyone's going to gatekeep my fucking band, it's going to be me.
Fuck yeah.
Get their ass. Get their goddamn ass. Damn right. Hell yeah. So this one should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Masterpiece, modern death.
Oh,
nice.
Wonderful.
All right. And can you talk about any particularly challenging or standout moments from the creation of the record, positive or negative?
I can definitely give you some negative ones.
Oh, okay.
Fucking hell.
All right.
As in, like, negative temperatures. So when we went to record the album, right, it was in this studio in, like, the Welsh Valleys, which is, like, where our drummer Lynn's from, around there. So it's, like, middle of nowhere, right? And we went to this studio, and we were there for 10 days, and that week was the coldest week in that area in like 50 years, I think. Something like that. Lynn had a look, and it was horrendous. Like when I'm saying like how cold it was beyond freezing. So like you're trying to warm up, you're trying to get it, like, do you know what I mean? Because it's like you can't just go straight in, like if you're doing vocals or guitar as well or drums. Like you have to be like physically warmed up. And it was like trying to get warmed up in that. It was nuts. It was so cold, and we were just like trapped there as well. Like, so it was like we couldn't go anywhere. So we just stopped. And it was just, oh God, it was so cold. But this is the thing about what I think about Ingested is we always do our best stuff when our backs are against the wall. Like if you back us into a corner, we turn into like a pit bull, because then it's like we're just gonna fight and claw, and it's all like it then becomes a war of attrition that we will not lose. So then it's like as soon as like there's any kind of like speed bumps or obstacles for us in anything that we do as a band, it's then like, oh, all right then. Okay, so now we're gonna do it just to prove that we can do it. Like, do you know what I mean? It becomes we're then fueled by spite.
Yeah.
So it's like we end up with like we've always got a chip on our shoulder, if you know what I mean. Because we're like, but I think that works. I think that works for us. I think again it comes down to like our backgrounds as people. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like you're growing up. Like for me personally, I grew up council estate in Manchester, like fucking poor as shit. It's like you are going to have a chip on your shoulder. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's how it is. Like I'm sure there's loads of people that can relate to that shit. It's like you always feel like you've got a point to prove. Yeah. Because that's where you've come from, and I think that's like why we are the way that we are. Why we work so hard. Why we always, like I said, we've always got this chip on our shoulder. Because it's like when we were coming through, like when we first started, it was like the amount of shit that we got from like certain areas of the scene in like the underground death metal scene and shit like that. It was mad. It was mad the amount of shit that we got. But again, it's like if you tell us no, we can't do something or we're not good enough, then out of sheer spite, we're gonna prove you wrong. Just to prove you wrong.
As you should.
So it's like all these things have like come through and like shaped us into who we are now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I think that's like kind of a reflection on us.
Yeah. Now you just have to become like the biggest band in the world to prove fucking everyone wrong. Yeah.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
But awesome.
But the thing is though, like we've never that like being the biggest or like fame and money, like that's never been a motivating factor for us, like ever. It's like I'm all any of us in this band want is to be able to do this as a career, which we've achieved. Like we're there now, to be able to pay our bills, and like so my wife and kids have got a roof over their head, the bills are paid, and we've got food in the belly and clothes on the backs. Like we're at that point. We've achieved that. Like we're not fucking loaded or rolling in it or anything, like by any means. Like we make just enough at the moment, but that's what I want. But the goal has always been that when this is all said and done, when Ingested is no longer a band, that people look back and go, fucking hell, they were the best death metal band of their era. Like, bar none. Their live shows were insane. Their albums were fucking brilliant. And they were one of the best death metal bands. Like, that is what we want. We want a legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want something that when I'm dead, like my kids can fucking go on the internet and watch videos of their dad kicking fucking ass on stage. Do you know what I mean? Like shit like that, and be like, wow, fucking hell, like dad did it. He fucking lived out his dreams. He managed to do what he wanted to do and made it work. And do you know what I mean? I want to inspire people like to do the same. Like, like, because like I said, like I've always said, we've never been a hype band. We've never been one of these bands that have just blown up or anything. We've never been a band that got help or handouts or pushed or any of that shit. Like, everything we've done it ourselves. We've worked our bollocks off, and we've built something brick by brick, step by step, every fucking year of our career. And it's real. And like, I want to show people, like, you can fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to be the biggest band in the fucking world to do what you love. Do you know what I mean? You can make it work.
Yeah.
Like, and I just want to inspire people to be able to realize that, you know, it's possible to do that.
And that steady growth is so much more sustainable than the blow up and then like try to maintain that hype. Like, you're building a fan base brick by brick.
Exactly. And the thing that comes with that as well is that these are real fans.
Yeah.
These aren't fans that are just jumping on a fad.
Yeah.
That are going to get bored or move on to the next thing. Like, these are lifers. Like, we play shows and we'll see people that have been coming to our shows for like 10 plus years.
Oh.
Like, these are real fans. Do you know what I mean? These are like, it's like with Cannibal Corpse. It's like, do you know what I mean? Their fans are real fans. Like, they're people who are like, you go to a Cannibal Corpse show and there's like people who are in the 50s and 60s still headbanging away and shit. And they've been there all for the whole goddamn 30 odd years. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's what I want. That's what I want. I don't want it's like, look, I love anyone who likes our band. That's great. But I want to build a real fan base. And I think we're well on our way to doing that, the whole world over. Because I think that's so much more real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
So for this last question, boom, you're on a deserted island. You can bring one person, one movie, and one album. Who and what are you bringing?
Ooh. One movie and one album.
And one person.
And one person. I would bring my wife. I would bring Aliens, the second one.
Okay.
The one with the alien queen and the fucking power loader and the get away from her, you bitch.
Yeah.
That's my favorite movie of all time. It's the best.
Really?
Yes. It's the best movie of all time. And one album. The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams, out on April the 4th through Metal Blade Records. Get your pre-orders in now. It's going to be the best modern death metal album of the year, if not the decade or possibly the millennium.
Damn right.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
the record certainly rips. We didn't get to say it at the beginning, but the record fucking smashes.
It's
Track 1, what a ripper. Track 5, my two favorites right there.
Sick. Thank you.
It's fucking incredible.
Hell yeah.
Genuinely, yeah.
But as Gloria said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
I just want to say thanks to you guys for having me on again. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to all our fans around the world for supporting us for all these years, for coming out to shows, for picking up our albums, buying merch. That stuff is the fuel that keeps our engine going. Like I said, we've got the album out, The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams, April the 4th through Metal Blade Records. You can pre-order it now. We've got loads of merch bundles, vinyl variants. We've got it on CD, loads of stuff. So check all that out. You can find the links for that through our social medias. We're on all the platforms, all the usual stuff. We got a brand new music video out for our first single off the album, which is called Paragon of Purity. It's out now on the Ingested TV YouTube channel, so check that out. It's also on Spotify and all that good stuff. So keep playing that, because that stuff really, really helps us. You know, it's all about digital numbers now, innit? So yeah, keep playing it, keep blasting it loud, keep sharing it to all your friends and family, because they'll love it. The music video is very sick. It's very gory and violent towards the end.
I saw blood in the thumbnail. I didn't watch it.
Oh yeah, you should watch it. It's fucking brutal. And then we have got our UK and Europe headline tour, the Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams tour, with Fallujah, Vulvodynia, Melancholia, and that runs through the UK and Europe through April and May. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Tickets are on sale now, so yeah, we've got a busy year ahead. There's plenty more stuff. So again, thank you to everyone for your support, and thanks again to you two for having me.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, thank you, Snaz. It's been Jason from Ingested, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.